Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling.
Extreme Championship.
Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm Mike to go.
It took me a second on that. I'm like, what the hell is that from?
I wasn't sure if I was going to say it right or wrong. Just came out.
And I am the blue guy.
Welcome to episode 250, Barely Legal 1997.
No tagline.
I mean, it's the... Does it need one? It's the first ECW pay-per-view.
There we go. There's your tagline. The first ECW pay-per-view.
We've been seeing BWO shirts on WCW and WWF shows.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how nationwide ECW was even in 97.
Yeah.
So this is the inaugural Barely Legal, produced by ECW. And as you said, it is the first actual pay-per-view that ECW would run. It took place on April 13th, 1997, from the ECW Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with an attendance of 1,170 people.
Hanging from the rafters. I mean, you can tell because the steel barricades are a foot closer to the ring. You can always tell when an ECW show is bumping because it's a little scarier when these freaks fly over the top rope to the floor.
And see, I know that, their shows take place in the ECW arena, but it just feels like for their first advertised official pay-per-view that they would have tried to go into a bigger spot, get some more people.
You want a spoiler?
Okay.
This is the only pay-per-view they ever film in the ECW arena.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
It seems like they shot themselves in the foot with, we're only going to allow this many people in here when people have been waiting for a pay-per-view for the last few years.
You gotta give it up to your regulars on the first one.
I can see that.
And put on a good show.
Yep.
And then maybe they'll follow you to Queens, the only other place that ECW has ever been.
We had a show from Florida one time.
That's true. And I believe you, but I don't remember it. I do remember going to Queens a few times.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been Queens and Philly, but there was one show
Yeah.
that they did in Florida.
Yeah, okay, I can picture the setup because it was
It was a TV episode that was filmed mostly in Florida.
But yeah, I can picture the high school,
Yeah.
the basketball hoops
Okay.
turned up.
So, we are in Philly.
Yeah, we are.
Mm-hmm.
So, Shane, did you do what you do?
I kind of did.
Philadelphia cream cheese.
Yes. We here we are in Philly, and spoiler alert, there's one announcement that we do have to make that coincides with this little dish, but we'll get to that here in a moment.
We can just say it right now because it makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, this episode will release the same week as one Michael's birthday.
Woo!
Yeah. Thanks. I didn't realize that. Shane brought a beautiful little ECW themed cake.
Yes. Instead of trying to figure out what the hell Philly people eat or drink, we decided to just turn it into something for Michael.
Uh-huh.
So, using the Philadelphia cream cheese, which is an ingredient in the cheesecake, even though we've mentioned before that they technically don't come from Philadelphia. It's just in name only.
What's in a name?
Exactly. I went to my local grocery store and grabbed one of those little pre-made cheesecakes that they had available because they did not have an undecorated cake that I could take at the moment. And I was in a hurry because work got off late and I had like 45 minutes to be over here. So grabbed a little cheesecake, New York style. Unfortunately, it's not Philly style, but it is made with Philly cream cheese. I went into the cake decorating aisle and lo and behold found this lovely container of funfetti frosting that happened to be
Ocean
aqua blue. And then I grabbed some basic birthday decorations that said happy birthday and a thing of white icing, and I slathered some of that blue frosting on top, threw on the happy birthday candy lettering, and then drew on a BWO.
I mean,
in the middle.
You guys will be able to find the photo.
It'll be really easy to
Such
point
a-
out. And I'm
such
going
a
to remember
wonderful-
to actually post it
Yeah.
because I've fallen behind on my food postings lately.
Yeah. But I
I need
mean,
to
this
stop
one, there's drinks, there's food, but this one,
It's a little special.
BWO.
Yeah. BWO. Happy BW Earth Day.
Yeah, thank you.
Along with that, I actually brought some presents.
Oh no.
Ooh.
So, first of all, a wonderful moonlighting magnet.
Oh, okay. I've been. I heard that Moonlighting just got put on a streaming service,
It's on Hulu now.
and I've been wanting to watch it, so I might have to pause watching Roseanne and start watching Moonlighting because I've always heard good things about it. But it is,
This was basically as a reminder that you need to watch Moonlighting.
yeah.
Because I
Yes.
think you would love it.
I think I would too. I like Bruce Willis a good amount, and Sybil Shepherd in Last Picture Show. I mean, come on, I don't know if it's one of my favorite movies, but it would probably be at least in the top 100.
Oh yeah. I mean, Matty Hayes and David Addison. You can't. It's one of those magical combinations. Yeah. You had Cagney and Lacey. You had. Trying to think of other power duos from the 80s. I mean, you had Hawkeye.
This is one of your original will they, won't they
Yeah.
type shows.
Yeah, I know that about it, and I know that it's like kind of weird and quirky.
It gave
And,
a home to Booger from Revenge of the Nerds. He stayed
Really?
relevant. Yeah. Curtis Armstrong is one of the featured casts.
Damn, is it Revenge of the Nerds 2 where he's like trying to catch the fly with the chopstick?
Yes.
God damn.
Because he was learning how to truly hock a loogie.
I love fucking nerds.
But the other part is a Rick Steiner.
Oh!
Lovely. I was like, what else do you have down there?
God damn it, do I love Rick Steiner.
Yeah, I bought that exact Rick Steiner
What a guy.
way back in the day when WCW came out with this funky ones. And yeah, much
It's so
like
crazy,
the one
yeah.
that I have, his
His
his ass is slightly worn.
He has a very prominent sculpted buttocks. Yeah, and he's got the tattoo. Damn, that's
Dogface
awesome.
Gremlin.
I love him. We all know I'm a Rick Steiner guy.
Go support your vintage toy shops. I found these at a store in Denver.
Oh wow,
I believe the store is called I Love the 80s.
nice. Yeah, I'm gonna
It's
have
a
to.
very cool toy store.
I'm gonna have to put him with my junkyard dog collection. I have, I think, all but one junkyard dog action figure that's been released.
Damn.
Just because you got to pick one. Why not pick a guy you really like?
I'm gonna have to get you on those other guys'
He
podcasts.
loves the ones that are dogs.
Yeah, that's true. It
Very
is
true.
Yeah. I love the headbutt on all fours. It really means something to me.
Shane, you gonna take a bite of your delicious cheesecake?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
For all these, because that's
Thank
that's
you.
what the fans are.
I know.
they are.
I need to start writing your birthdays down because the only birthday I know is mine and my sister's. I get my mom and dad's mixed up. They're in the same month, so it's like one's early in June, one's late in June, and all my some friends that I've known for longer. I'm like, oh, I think I remember the month, but I don't know the day.
All right, New York cheesecake with BWO frosting. Here we go. It didn't really make any noise because I already had it broke off, but here, we'll do this.
I mean,
Yeah, not
Yeah.
much sound.
the
It's
Actually,
cheesecake.
it
It
tastes
shouldn't make noise.
surprisingly bizarre. Putting
The
straight
frosting works.
the frosting works.
Yeah.
It sounds like it wouldn't work. It's like, well, it's cheesecake. It's like, well, what if you put like some teeth-shattering amounts of sugar, a thin layer of teeth-shattering amounts of sugar on top of a cheesecake?
I mean,
It's not a bad
it's-
idea.
It's not so much a swirl cheesecake. It's just got all that little extra flavor on top there, and I don't really know if the Funfuddy frosting has a flavor or if it's just frosting flavored, but yeah, you taste the frosting up first, and then you get that smoothness from the cheesecake afterwards. That kind of clips away at the sweetness of the frosting.
I just came up with an idea. Anybody can steal it if they'd like. But you make a cheesecake. You know, cheesecake typically dips down after it bakes. you smear the top with creme brulee, hit it with a flame.
Yeah.
You get a crunch on top of it.
We used to do that at...
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
That was our... Back whenever I was working at the Mantle in the city, that was our special guest dessert.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I can't believe I've never seen this before, but someone's had to have done it.
We would just take our creme brulee and spread it over the top of a piece of cheesecake and then hit it with the flame.
Such a good idea.
Great.
Yeah.
Smart.
And then you can charge somebody like $14 a slice for it.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Yeah, I was like, never seen it before, but somebody had to have done it, and I'm glad to know that they had, because it would have been a real tragedy if nobody came up with that simple idea before.
Well, something else that would happen right around the same time as this show. Trio of young boys from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh, God.
Would release a song that would
captivate
entertain
the country,
many of the masses, and annoy the rest of us.
Bop, bip ba da ba da doo wop, diddle la ba doo wop.
Jesus.
Yep.
Da da doo.
Yeah.
What a disgusting earworm.
Mm-hmm.
I did that completely from memory. I have not listened to that song in years.
Yeah.
You did good.
I think
it was pretty much spot on.
Right before I moved here, because I moved into Oklahoma at the end of '98, I believe. This song became huge, and there was a girl in my neighborhood that my sister befriended, who was maybe her age or a year older or whatever, who was obsessed with Hanson, and got my sister obsessed with Hanson. And she was like, I remember we found out we were moving to Oklahoma, and this girl was excited because not Mbop, that's not Hanson, was from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I just found that very funny and bizarre and weird. And then not too long after that, the song was completely inescapable. But when she was a super fan, and I had never even heard of the thing yet. And then I used to also make fun of my sister all the time, because when she was younger, she was a tomboy, and she looked pretty similar to the drummer. So you gotta tease your siblings. I would tease the shit out of her.
What were their names? I know Taylor was one.
Zach, Isaac, and Taylor.
That's right.
Isaac was the one...
The drummer?
No, Isaac was the guitar player.
Or wait, yeah, Zach was the drummer.
Taylor
Isaac
was the keyboard player, and Zach was the drummer.
Taylor was the one that everybody thought was a girl.
Yeah.
Except for the girls who were in love with him, but possibly because he looked like a girl.
Isaac was the one that looked like a Von Erich, and the other ones looked like little girls.
Yeah. Yeah, I was working at Blockbuster Video when this song came out, and it was on our trailer tapes that we had to watch all day long, every day, until the new one came out. So I grew very, 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 very tired of this song. Very, 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 very bop quickly.
Also, they didn't have another single. They put out a Christmas album, and then there's what is the other song? Nobody has one they can pull out, unless you're a true Hanson fan.
Yeah.
Which, they do exist. We live in Oklahoma. There's people around our ages that are women who still ride for those records.
Now I gotta look, just to make sure, because I'm like, is there seriously not another one?
Yeah, I remember there's a song on the album that has to do with aliens, and that's the only other thing I remember. But I'd be curious to see how much my sister remembers from that record.
Middle of nowhere.
They released a bunch of albums, which I've actually heard that.
I mean, obviously good players.
They are a good band. Nothing earth-shattering and nothing blew up. Obviously, Mbop. But, I mean, they had Where's the Love hit number 2 off the same album.
Okay, I vaguely remember that one, but I just keep... the
I
song
will,
that pops in my head is the Black Eyed Peas tune, which is
I
really
Will
bad.
Come to You hit number 9.
Okay. Not a bad...
I guess they had a song off their second album, hit number 20, called This Time Around. But, they literally released an album with Mbop 2.0 this year.
Good
God.
Wow.
Oh, we have to find this one right this second.
Do we?
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not mad at them by any means. I thought it was going to be like a shoegaze version of something. Oh, yeah.
A little harder.
Well, it's Busted and Hanson, who I don't know who Busted is. But it looks like they're possibly like a cover band type thing, because they played with a bunch of different people.
The thing about this song is that like the riff is catchy and the vocals are riffy. Catchy, but the chorus is fucking so obnoxious. But I mean, I guess that's what did it. But I'm not mad at the song until it hits the chorus.
Because it's one of those songs that your kids can sing in the backseat without really having to know the words, because all they need to know is ba ba dib dab dab. Because even the actual words that they sang in the regular lyrics, they didn't make any sense, because
honestly,
it just sounded like he was.
It is kind of the like poppy version of the chorus from "Smells Like Teen Spirit." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, it sounds like sounds if you're not paying attention, but they are saying words. Bop to the top, and I don't have to.
Doobie dop bop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of it's like a mosquito, my libido.
Palomino.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Hanson and Mbop.
My favorite beer of all time was a collaboration with Hanson's.
Hops.
No, I haven't had that.
Okay.
But they did a collaboration beer with some other company. I can't remember what it's called, but it doesn't exist anymore. And it's coveted as my favorite beer of all time.
I remember when I was working Wolfgang Pucks in Tulsa, and I think it was Isaac that came in with his wife, and the girls on staff just freaked out because one of them was getting to wait on one of the Hanson guys, and I had to have the talk with all of them on staff, kind of like we used to have back in the day at Olive Garden, where Garth Brooks would always come in if you are not his server, you do not go to the table, you do not approach his table unless you are dropping off food. There will be no taking pictures. There will be no asking for autographs, because if you want him to come back again, you're going to leave him the hell alone.
Yeah.
And then they, now here we are at our current place, and it's like Jim Ross walks in and like, let me get a picture.
We were empty.
No. I'm still jealous that I wasn't there, because I would have done the
Jim
same
Ross,
thing.
not Isaac Hanson. We're talking Jim Ross here.
It's the only reason it happens.
I've been shooting him
we were completely
messages
empty.
on Twitter.
We were completely empty. That's the only reason I even asked for the photo.
No, it's different now.
Matt has been in an elevator with Paul Heyman and it didn't bother him.
What?
Pretty incredible.
And then there's me screaming across the lobby of a hotel room for Michael P.S. Hayes.
I tweeted at Walker
Doc!
at Walker Stewart to come in and have dinner on me.
Yeah, I used to shoot messages on Twitter to JR's Barbecue constantly.
Yeah, you could probably tell him more about New Japan.
He showed up on the damn
he
day that I
currently
was
does.
gone.
But speaking of Barely Legal and Hanson, we'll talk about the show now.
Hey.
Yeah, it's time.
Joey Styles is in the ring, welcoming everyone to the show as the crowd chants, ECW, ECW. He starts going over the matches of the evening when the Dudley boys interrupt, chasing Joey out of the ring so that Devon can take the mic to tell the fans to shut up and demand that they bow to them.
Suck.
And then the fans chime right back with a good old "fuck you, Devon."
Fuck you, Devon.
He follows up by calling them inbred and illiterate pieces of garbage, and it's time to testify.
And I must say, the picture is so much better already on this show compared to the other ECW shows that we've watched, because it's either a way better download or they brought in some good cameras for their first pay-per-view.
It's probably just a better camera.
Yeah.
But I will say right up front, the camera work isn't any different.
No. It's just a clearer picture.
Okay, yeah, see.
I noticed that during the Taz match because I could actually see Fonzie's face.
Yeah.
Before, I could only just see like a pixelated, blurry set of mangled teeth.
I also think that the audio is very different, where maybe it's been juiced on the network, but this show is not on the network. So, like, Yeah, the audio is
Yeah,
thinner.
this is one of the few shows that the network has never put back on after they switched from the network to Peacock.
Which is, I mean, kind of awesome because
still trying
you
to
go
get
out of
those
your way to
musics
watch
fixed.
it and you get all the songs, but like the audio is like, I don't know, cleaner.
Yes.
And you can hear the ring really well, and it makes everything makes all the moves look bigger and sound bigger, but the crowd sound is not as high
Yeah.
in the mix.
We then get an opening video package showing title and date of the show before various clips of violence and hot women.
They have maybe better looking cameras, but they're still using clip art, baby.
Yeah. We come back to the ring with Joel Gertner on the mic to introduce himself with a limerick before introducing the undisputed and undefeated tag team champions. So we go to our first match. The Dudley Boys of Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley with Sign Guy Dudley versus the Eliminators of Perry Saturn and John Kronus. And the Dudley Boys were already out there, and they're the champs. Foreshadowing.
Also, the Eliminators now have matching gear.
Yep.
It's like a nice new shiny pink silver. It's like pink and silver, yeah. Almost blinds you to look at it.
Yeah.
So since the last ECW show that we watched, which was CyberSlam, there had actually been another show, Hostile City Showdown, that we couldn't find video for. And the Dudleys had actually won the tag belts at that show. So this match is a rematch, basically. They're getting their rematch for the titles.
And are the Eliminators face now?
I mean, the Dudley Boys are definitely the
heels.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, I thought maybe that was the case, because the Dudleys are heel, and
Eliminators been
the
over for a
Eliminators
minute.
have pink gear, so I thought maybe they were, I don't know.
No, they've just been over for a hot minute, and the Devon's here, and people aren't fans of Devon.
So as the challengers hit the ring, the Dudleys roll out to the floor. So Sign Guy gets attacked from behind and receives total elimination.
I mean, come on. First move on the pay-per-view, total elimination.
The Dudleys then run back in to attack from behind themselves, with Devon hitting a reverse DDT on Perry, while Kronus is dropped with a Bubba Bomb and a diving headbutt from Devon for a 2 count. A tilt-a-whirl body slam splash combo by the Dudleys on Saturn, followed by a vertical suplex flying crossbody combo on John.
I mean, what's going on here?
Coming out hot.
Yep.
Big boy moves.
The Dudleys attempt a double clothesline on Perry, but he ducks and leaps off the ropes over them to deliver a double drop kick and clothesline to each man, only to then run into a Bubba Ray Uranagi.
You know what I noticed? They dropped at least an extra $1,000 because the mat has the ECW logo.
Ah,
Yeah.
good
I
eye.
was like, oh, look at that. That was what I noticed. Not the camera as much. But
The Dudleys go for a 3D on Kronus, only for Saturn to kick Devon away,
too early.
allowing John to bounce off the ropes with a spinning heel kick to Bubba. The Eliminators now double team the Dudleys with kicks, elbows, and thrust kicks, followed by a pair of body slams and heading up top for stereo corkscrew splashes, sending the champs out to the floor to regroup. But the Eliminators don't let them rest for long as they nail a Saturn Salt and a space-flying Kronus drop, which is him doing that handspring leap over the ropes, plancha onto them.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can see the handspring back elbow or splash to the corner, but he took it out to the floor. We're on pay-per-view.
Back in the ring, the Eliminators continue the punishment with a top rope spinning heel kick and a handspring back elbow, followed by a top rope elbow drop and a double jump Saturn Salt.
Damn.
John adds a 450 splash to the mix
Holy shit.
before delivering total elimination to Bubba Ray for the pin and the win. And new.
I mean, guys, wild for it to be essentially a spot fest squash match against the Dudleys. right off the bat.
And Kronus with that 450.
My God, he's huge.
Get out.
Yeah, I wrote down that this was Buck's core, but but Kronus is the size of the Young Bucks on each other's shoulders, and so it's extra wild.
Yeah, he's a big dude. Tall, he's a thick dude, so doing a 450 splash off the top, I wasn't expecting that.
We've seen our big nimble men. We've seen our Bam Bams, but
has he done anything like that before? And I'm just not
Bam
remembering.
Bam used to do the cartwheel.
The 450 splash?
Kronus.
I don't think I've ever seen him do the 450 splash.
No.
Okay.
I mean, his little handspring leap over the ropes thing is impressive enough.
Crazy. But we've seen our big guys that can move, but I don't know if I've ever seen a big guy that moves like Kronus does. Mm-hmm. As far as Brock is huge and used to do the or what's the one where you do the forward
shooting star press.
You do a shooting star press. It's that's insane. But Kronus is not as chiseled and fit as Brock Lesnar, and he's doing shit that Brock Lesnar maybe could do, but shouldn't.
Yeah, Kronus,
but should not do.
Dad bod before it was dad bod.
Yeah. He's one-upping Saturn at this point. Saturn will jump off something real big, but...
Post-match, as the Eliminators celebrate, Joel Gertner enters the ring to say the fans are too stupid to realize that the Dudleys won. As it was scored on the Stud Muffin scoring system, 86-83, so they're still the champions. The crowd then chants,
"Fuck him up."
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I was I was a little early there.
So the Eliminators oblige, giving him total elimination.
And boy, did they ever.
And this actually causes Joel Gertner to wear a neck brace for years.
I mean,
he takes the heel shoot.
It's not
or
shoot.
Not
shoot. It's just to get him.
Yeah.
But I had to replay it a few times. He takes that heel directly to the nose.
Yeah.
It's gnarly.
Yeah, it's... I had to go back and watch it at least once or twice more, and kind of that same thought. It was a picture-perfect kick to the face, his face off, and I totally believe that he'd wear a neck brace for quite some time afterwards.
I mean, yeah, I'd be surprised if he didn't break his nose.
Just that feel-good moment to end the first match.
Eliminators, yeah.
Joey then introduces a video of Sandman, where he's cutting a promo in the back, while highlights of him are shown, including a slow-motion clip of him caning Balls Mahoney, while also showing him drinking and smashing cans on his head.
And guys, don't be worried. That's the only time we see Balls Mahoney on the show.
Yes. Styles then tells us we were supposed to get a Chris Candido match next, but he's injured. However, he has something he wants to say. So we go to the ring, where Chris has a mic in hand.
Can he go? Can he go?
And he begins to speak about his past with the company. How he was around in the beginning, but now the company is extreme. Candido continues that this time last year, he was with his buddy Dr. Tom and his girl, which you can't say his name. Thanks, Bruce.
Yeah. It was pretty fun to hear Bruce mentioned.
Did he actually say Uncle Bruce?
And see, I was trying to... He said it so fast at that spot there. I heard him say that he couldn't say the name, and then I didn't understand what the rest of it was.
I think he says, because Bruce will get mad.
I think he said because Uncle Bruce will get mad.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really great promo, but Candido speaks a little too fast. He's, a little nervous, or he doesn't do long promos like this regularly, but...
somebody else did the talking for him before.
Yeah, it is very good and heartfelt, but he does... His cadence is a little quick.
He talks about winning the WWF tag titles on the Mania pre-show the last year, but now he's on ECW's first pay-per-view, or so he thought. And he's angry that he's not on the shirt or any promotional materials. Sabu and Taz deserve the main event, but he should get some credit. Candido then dares Sandman to come out and hit him with a stick. but he doesn't want a dirty Singapore cane. That's pussy country. Bring a Jersey cane. Yeah. It's just like, what's a Jersey cane?
He's just playing to the crowd. It's not a thing. It's not a thing.
And Chris starts going off on others such as Stevie Richards and Terry Funk before promising to be part of the event tonight.
I think Jersey cane is slang for crack.
Yeah, I typed in Jersey cane and they just bring up jerseys.
Yeah, it's not a thing. But he's just playing to the hometown crowd.
So we go to our second match. Lance Storm versus Rob Van Dam.
I mean, come on.
And this is originally where Chris Candido was supposed to face off versus Lance Storm in this match. Rob Van Dam is the replacement.
Rob Van Dam wasn't going to be on the show.
He wasn't going to be on this pay-per-view.
Which is legitimately a travesty. And like Candido versus Rob Van Dam would be great. But like Lance Storm I feel like he's been less featured than Chris Candido.
We've only seen him one time before.
Yeah. So that's great they want to push him. I'm pro Lance Storm. But like, you're not going to put Rob Van Dam on the show. That's nuts.
So Lance gives Candido well wishes when they meet in the aisleway, while RVD gets a mixed reaction as the Fran... Yeah, because there were rumors that he was leaving for WCW.
Mr. Monday Night.
So the two men have a feeling out process to start until Storm avoids a monkey flip and hits a clothesline before grabbing a headlock, only for Van Dam to power out for some kicks, an arm drag, and a springboard crossbody. RVD tosses Lance out to the floor, following out with a tope con hilo, before also hitting a top rope leg drop back inside the ring for a 2 count. Storm is whipped to a corner, only for him to leap up to the top rope, vaulting backwards with an elbow, followed by a rubber band slam and a drop kick that sends Van Dam out to the floor. And Lance goes for a slingshot crossbody, only for RVD to move to regain control, tossing Storm into a guardrail before also leaping off one for a moonsault.
Crazy. What are you doing? There's no room. And you can tell because the moonsault like stops halfway in the air and he just like crumbles down on top of him. It's like, there's not enough space, Rob. Use your head. We want you alive.
Lance is rolled in while Van Dam grabs a chair, tossing it hard into Storm's face, followed by a running Van Daminator, an underhook facebuster, and a frog splash for a near fall. And RVD throws the chair at Lance's face again, tries for a rolling splash into a corner, only for Storm to move and power slam Van Dam onto the chair. Lance then ducks a spinning heel kick, followed by one of his own, for also nailing a cartwheel splash into a corner, and a top rope crossbody for a 2 count. Storm then rolls RVD into a Boston Crab, before transitioning into a half crab, until Van Dam can grab the ropes to break the hold. RVD then back body drops Lance out to the apron, taking him down to the apron before hitting a slingshot guillotine leg drop. And back in the ring, Van Dam tosses a chair to Lance and attempts a Van Daminator, but Storm ducks and hits a weak chair shot, followed by a Tiger Bomb onto the chair for a near fall. Lance then goes to the top as RVD makes his way to his feet with the help of the chair, when Storm would leap off with a leg drop that would drive Van Dam's head into the steel for a 2 count.
Nasty.
Fuck.
The two fight over a waistlock when RVD would go low, followed by crouching Lance on the ropes and going for a springboard back elbow. But he slips as he comes off, so the crowd lets him know,
"You fucked up."
Storm comes back with a bridging German suplex and more weak chair shots that the crowd doesn't like either.
I mean, Lance Storm, he's probably not well versed in the way of the chair.
Which distracts Lance, but once he turns back towards RVD, he's nailed with a Van Daminator, followed by a standing moonsault for the pin and the win. Post-match, Storm wants a handshake, but RVD grabs a mic to refuse, saying he's not there for respect from anyone. that he doesn't give a shit what anyone thinks, especially Paul E. Dangerously. And Lance just calls him an asshole, with Van Damme agreeing, before saying he sold out, but to himself, because he swallowed his pride and wrestled as a replacement. But he's not a second-line wrestler.
He is not.
RVD continues that it's all about business, and beating Storm makes him more money in ECW and elsewhere, which just pisses off the fans even more. Van Damme then grins and poses while the fans chant, "Get the fuck out!"
And yeah, of course they hit the na-na-na-na, hey, goodbye.
But it was good that they were able to kind of turn him, like his storyline that he has going on, him not being on the pay-per-view, into a furthering of his storyline.
And honestly, since we haven't seen much Lance Storm earned a bunch of respect in this match from being a tough guy that can fucking move it in the ring.
Yeah.
I don't think him and Candido it could have been a better match, but it wouldn't have done. Lance Storm versus Chris Candido would not have raised either of the men's profile.
It might have.
It could have. It has the potential to, but a really great match with RVD, whether they win or lose, would raise either of their profiles more, I think, than the two of them against each other.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting that's maybe RVD, that was the whole plan, was that it would be one of them versus him, and that's just some kayfabe.
Joey then sends us to a video package about Terry Funk, where we get clips of his hardcore work with Paul Heyman narration hyping up the three-way dance match. We then go to our third match, BWO Japan.
Gone international, folks.
Oh my god.
Taka Michinoku, Men's Trio, and Dick
Togo.
Togo
Yeah.
versus Masato, Yakushiji, Great Sasuke, and Gran Hamada.
Best name ever.
Which one?
Dick to go.
Oh yeah. Big Togo, yeah. I mean, he's been around forever. He's much larger now.
So we haven't seen Michinoku since Best of Super Juniors 94, episode 119. Hamada and Sasaki at the J Crown tournament, episode 213. And the English translation of Teioh is Terry Boy.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And is an homage actually to Terry Funk.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got the little 70s Terry Funk frill shorts on.
I was kind of hoping he'd get on the microphone.
Yeah. To hear that in broken English would be incredible.
While you might recognize Togo from his days in Kaientai in WWF, or maybe even from his current run in New Japan as the Worst.
I mean, yeah. He is.
Is that his actual name is the Worst?
No.
No. He's just the worst.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I mean, he is the shit stirrer for the faction that does nothing but stir shit and cheat. And New Japan always has one faction that cheats, but this one cheats so much that it's not even fun.
He literally, I think, is one least favorite wrestler on the Super J cast 3 years running.
Yeah.
Which is the one that looked like the Green Ranger?
That's Masato.
That's Masato, okay.
Yusuji.
Yeah, he's subbing in for Gran Naniwa.
Yeah, 'cause
Which
that's
do
all
you
I
guys
could
remember
think.
Grand Naniwa?
Yeah.
He was the crab guy.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
He was the comedy crab guy.
Yeah.
Who was obviously talented, but this guy in his Green Ranger thing.
Yeah, that's all I could think was I was watching it is he looks like the Green Ranger.
Yeah.
He looks like the Green Ranger.
I mean, fans even chanted.
Now, all 6 of these men are from Michinoku Pro, and because it's Japanese tradition, our fans throw streamers into the ring.
So many streamers, it's so fun to see.
But as the action gets going, Hamada with a quick arm drag as Taka starts it off, then goes on an onslaught before holding Taka up as Yakushiji comes off the top with a double foot stomp, continuing with the slam and a leg drop for a 2 count before bringing in Sasaki, who pelts Taka with a bunch of kicks. Taka fights off a suplex and pummels Sasaki before tagging in Terry Boy, who delivers a snapmare, setting up an elbow drop by Taka, a somersault senton by Togo, and another elbow drop by Terry Boy. Taka hits Sasaki with a sidewalk slam, turning him over into a Boston Crab, before Terry Boy grabs a camel clutch and Togo delivers a low dropkick to the face.
The timing of these guys is so fucking on point.
Yeah.
They're just, everybody's exactly where they need to be at every fucking moment, and so much shit's happening, but it all makes sense. It's like, oh, everything that happens is logical, surprising, and well-timed. My God.
BWO followed that up by nailing a senton splash with Yakushiji running in to break up the cover. Taka tags in and attacks the throat of Yakushiji, slamming him and tagging in Terry Boy, who scores some knee lifts and a stalling corkscrew suplex for a near fall. Togo tags in and launches Yakushiji off a whip, but Yakushiji retaliates with a Hurricanrana before delivering a float over lucha arm drag to send Togo to the floor.
See, I noticed during this match the way that they say Hurricanrana in ECW, because he said it like Hurricanrana or something like that.
A Hurricanrana. Yeah, it's like just the Joey Styles, you know, the New Jersey coming out.
His New Jersey, New Japan. Hurricanrana.
Yakushiji backflips off the second rope to show off, so Taka rushes in after him and shoots him to the ropes, only to get sent to the floor with a tilt-a-whirl arm drag as well.
Yeah.
Now it's Hamada and Terry Boy in the ring where they exchange overhand chops until Hamada hits a big headbutt.
Ooh.
Backflips away from a corner whip and catches Terry Boy with an armbar takedown. But Taka breaks it up and goes for a back body drop, with Hamada landing on his feet, only for Terry Boy to grab hold of him from behind, with Taka charging in, but Hamada ducks, causing Terry Boy to be knocked out to the floor.
And I know we've seen Hamada before, but my God, was I impressed with him in this match. Like, everybody here is doing an incredible job, but Hamada has an immediacy and, like, fervor, where it's like his moves are, like, he moves quickly at the right time, and it always looks pretty fierce.
Hamada takes Taka down with another armbar takedown, followed by giving him a back suplex, tagging in Sasaki for some double team chops. And Sasaki then applies a body scissors chin lock, but Terry Boy breaks it up, followed by them having a cool rope running sequence that ends with Sasaki cartwheeling into a crossbody for a 2 count.
Love to see it.
Yakushiji and Taka tag in, with Yakushiji hitting a quick drop kick, but Taka brings him to his team's corner for some punishment.
And have you guys noticed that this whole match has taken place inside of the ring?
No schmas.
This is the third match. First match, second, third match. All taking place inside the ring. Somebody might get tossed to the floor for a second. Van Dam did his moonsault off of the steel, but for the most part, it's taking place in the ring. And this is 6 men all staying inside of the ring for the most part.
Terry Boy tags in, and he continually tosses Yakushiji out to the floor and follows out, only for Yakushiji to keep coming back in until he can finally out-quick him, drop-kicking Terry Boy off the apron to the floor and setting up a baseball slide into a head scissors takedown. Now Hamada and Togo run the ropes.
You just put my foot in my mouth.
Until Togo nails a low drop kick. But Hamada comes back with a Hurricanrana for a near fall, as Taka breaks it up. Hamada then counters a vertical suplex into a small package for a 2 count, before Taka gets triple teamed with chops to the back.
It reminds me of my wonderful current-ish 6-man tag team of Yoshihashi, Ishii, and Goto with the hammers to the back.
Sasaki puts Taka into a half crab, but he squirms to his feet and hits an enziguri, allowing Taka to whip Sasaki to a corner for a running forearm and a roundhouse kick. Togo and Terry Boy attack Sasaki's midsection and hit a double facebuster, before holding Sasaki up by his ankles with his head resting on the mat, with Taka hitting a running front dropkick to the gut. And they continue by putting Sasaki on the bottom of a cheerleading type pyramid to gloat.
It's really fun. BWO.
Followed by Taka and Terry Boy, each putting a boot behind his head as Togo drills him with a stiff running front drop kick.
I mean, this is an incredible spot. Like, two men on either side of a guy on his knees, and they each are holding one of his arms with their boot, sandwiching his head like it's in a vice grip. And then the other guy comes out, hits the rope, comes off with a fucking drop kick directly into his face.
Basically, he gets a boot in every side of his head.
It's great. It looks so fucking good. And so dangerous.
A stalling vertical suplex gets a near fall for Togo before Terry Boy tags in and goes for the spinning toe hold. But Sasuke kicks him off and whips Terry Boy, only to telegraph the back body drop, allowing Terry Boy to hit a swinging DDT.
I love that as soon as he picks the legs, everybody starts doing the woo. Like he's going to put him in a figure four, but then he starts just cranking on the toe hold.
Taka and Yakushiji match up, with Taka delivering a brainbuster for a 2 count.
Perfect brainbuster, by the way. They're not always perfect. This one's fucking perfect.
Followed by Terry Boy tagging in to give Yakushiji a Hogan boot to set up a triple team maneuver where Terry Boy begins to slingshot Yakushiji, while Togo bounces off the ropes and drops him back with a clothesline. And as his whole torso is exposed, Terry Boy keeps a hold of his feet so that Taka can leap off the top rope with a flying knee drop.
My God.
Togo takes his time making the cover, so it's only a near fall. But he follows it up with a body slam and a second rope somersault senton before bringing Terry Boy in for a back suplex for a 2 count. Taka goes after Hamada, giving him a back body drop and taking him into the BWO corner, where Taka and Togo team up for a spike pile driver.
Yeah.
Now Hamada rolls to the floor, so Yakushiji becomes the legal man, with the BWO team delivering a triple team powerbomb for a near fall, with Sasuke making the save. So they try the same powerbomb on him, but they drop him momentarily, only to try for it anyways, allowing Sasuke to counter into a Hurricanrana for a 2 count. Now Sasuke sent to the ropes, ducking a double clothesline and springboard moonsaults onto Taka and Terry Boy for a near fall, followed by nailing a cartwheel back elbow to send Togo to the floor. Sasuke then hits an Asai moonsault that lands himself in the first row. While inside the ring, Hamada nails Terry Boy with a clothesline and setting him on a turnbuckle for a super Rana, only to be reversed into a super inverted atomic drop, sending Hamada rolling to the floor, where Taka springboard planches atop him.
Everybody is just so goddamn present.
Mm-hmm.
Takasuji hits Terry Boy with a missile dropkick back in the ring for a 2 count, followed by a snap suplex and a second rope moonsault for a near fall. Terry Boy reverses a whip, allowing him to hit a swinging DDT and a choke slam powerbomb for a 2 count.
Chokeslam powerbomb. What the fuck? Shit's wild.
Togo hops in the ring to nail Hamada with a power slam for a near fall, before whipping him to a corner, only to get his boots up on a charging Togo, allowing him to leap off the second rope with a swinging DDT for a 2 count. And Togo reverses a whip and catches Hamada going for a Rana, dropping him with a powerbomb for a near fall. He then heads up top, only for Sasuke to stop him, allowing Hamada to climb up for another Super Rana. Now Sasuke and Hamada decide to focus on Terry Boy outside, leaving Togo alone to receive a missile dropkick from Yakushiji that sends Togo outside, with Yakushiji following out with a tope suicida. Now back in the ring, Taka and Sasuke trade waistlocks until Sasuke nails some kicks, allowing him to run the ropes, but he's caught with an overhead belly-to-belly suplex by Taka, followed by a top rope missile dropkick to the back of the head, and the Michinoku driver for a near fall, as Yakushiji makes the save.
Incredible stuff.
Taka then dumps Yakushiji out to the floor and heads up top, coming off with a crossbody, only for Sasuke to meet him in mid-air with a dropkick, followed by a springboard moonsault for a 2 count.
Jesus.
Sasuke then nails a powerbomb and a dragon suplex for the pin And the win.
My God. Fucking... Woo. There's a standing ovation. It's extremely well-deserved. I'm going to say it. This is a fucking short list, brother.
Yes.
I mean, this is... everybody... Like, this is so similar to modern matches, but done so much more intelligently.
Yeah.
And everything seems like it means more. I don't know.
Yeah, they all just flowed seamlessly, all 6 of them.
Yeah, it was so great. Ah, my God. And the match was long as hell, and not boring for a second.
Mm-mm. I know when I opened up the notes and saw how detailed Matt was on it, I was thankful because you covered a whole lot of shit on it.
Yeah, I was basically right there with him.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I was kind of right there with him. I was like, damn, my notes are pretty close to his.
Yeah, I couldn't leave anything out. I
think
that... like, every time I wanted to leave something, I was like, this move's fucking cool. This move's fucking... I was like...
I mean, best 6-man match I think I've ever seen at this point in my life.
I'll give it that.
We go to Big Stevie Cool in the back, where he's brooding in black and white, saying he spent 2.5 years ashamed of who he was, that he wasn't a man, that he had no dignity or respect, that he was abused by a man he idolized. But now he can rectify it and come out of his shell. Richards continues that it's his chance to shed the image of the person he was, saying that it was always the last one picked for sports, and he could never get a date.
I mean, come on. We have Shawn Michaels at home. He's not as attractive as Shawn Michaels, but he's not an ugly guy.
Stevie says it's not about the BWO or being Big Stevie Cool. But tonight he steps into the ring to shed the image and become a man. And the picture turns to color as Richard says it's not about Raven. Tonight it's about me, and win, lose, or draw, I will leave the ring with respect.
I love that when it turns to color, he lifts his head and looks into the camera. We don't watch a whole lot of ECW television, so we don't really get these like vignette, like pre-taped promos. And this one, it's like, oh, they're fucking trying. Everybody's putting it in.
The blue guy that enters the room.
Oh no!
Doing a Scott Hall imitation and telling Sandman and Funk that they are going to dance, but Stevie is going to lead. Because it's a 3-way dance.
Yeah. My issue with this whole thing is that he's talking about leaving Stevie cool. This isn't about the BWO. It's about me. It's this great, relatable babyface wrestling promo. And then the blue guy shows up and like adds a cartoon element like right at the end of it. It's like, he didn't need to be there. Yeah. Didn't add anything to it.
I mean, that was a good line.
Yeah, for sure. I just think it kind of undercut some of the impact.
It did undercut the promo a little bit. We then go to our 4th match. The franchise, Shane Douglas with Francine versus Pitbull number 2 for the ECW World Television Championship. The champ came out first. Foreshadowing.
Cut the music.
With the trio of guys in riot gear leading the way. And Shane takes the mic to tell everyone that he returned to ECW to lead everyone to Nirvana, to the promised land of pay-per-view. And Douglas continues that people don't have to like him because he doesn't care, but they are looking at greatness before calling out the pussies from the other organizations because they weren't man enough to show up. The franchise says he set the tempo and put the extreme in ECW, followed by saying he had 4 points about why he's so great. 1, when he came back from Cartoon Land, he said he would win a title, which he did, while breaking Pitbull number 1's neck in the process. While we also see highlights of their encounter, followed by also seeing number 1 sitting in the crowd with a neck brace on. Like just one of those rubber ones. That.
Yeah. He doesn't have the whole halo.
Not the halo.
Yeah, we're past that.
Number 2, Shane dealt with a mysterious masked man, and it stops tonight. And we then see highlights of that masked man, and there's I don't know if they ever actually say it, but there's a stipulation on the match that if Douglas wins, the masked man must reveal his face.
Oh.
Yeah,
Did they say it before the match? Because I only think they said it after.
I'm
It
trying to
doesn't-
remember.
I was
wanna
trying
say-
to, yeah.
I remember hearing Joey say it at some point. I don't remember if
Maybe
it
I
was right
missed
as
it.
the match started or...
Yeah, it happens.
Well, the thing is, I was trying to write down the points as he made them, but they were a little long-winded, so they kind of like ran into each other. So I gave up and was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Matt's got this." Turns out you might have missed a thing, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't as coherent
'Cause
as far as
as soon
rule
as...
number one.
I personally only got 3 points, but I made it into 4.
Yeah.
As
Okay.
soon as they mentioned that one, that's when I spotted the masked man in the show. I was like, okay, here we go.
Oh, okay.
Number 3, he faced Pitbull number 1 in an I Quit match, reducing him to a spectator as he re-injured the neck. So we get to see that highlight as well.
And he is a spectator.
And then number 4, franchise tells him to hit the music and bring him his opponent. And Pitbull 2 rushes the ring with chain in hand, with the two brawling away until number 2 hits a back body drop, a spinning wheel kick, and a clothesline.
Break his neck. Break his
The two men trade headlocks and low blows until the Pitbull catches Shane for an inverted atomic drop and a clothesline for a 2 count. Douglas gets choked on the ropes before number 2 attempts a powerbomb, only for the franchise to counter it into a hurricanrana. But the Pitbull retaliates immediately with a clothesline. And number 2 again tries for a powerbomb, but Shane again counters into a hurricanrana that takes them out to the floor. And back inside, Douglas delivers a trio of pile drivers
Damn.
before choking the Pitbull on the ropes and nailing a snapmare drop kick to the neck combo.
And this is a very good match, but the crowd seems kind of dead and starts chanting, "She has herpes." I'm like, come on, guys. I guess they might want to see the gangsters or something, but I'm having a great time over here.
The franchise continues the punishment with a stalling suplex and a camel clutch as he yells at number 1 in the crowd, calling him by his actual name. Gary Wolf. Like he says both names. Like, that's the disrespect.
I know.
Number 2 elbows his way free and hits a choke lift, inverted atomic drop, and a clothesline before whipping Shane to a corner where he leaps up and off the ropes, only to be caught by the Pitbull and dumped over with a fallaway slam through the timekeeper's table.
Fuck him up, Pitbull. Fuck him up.
Number 2 follows out to toss Douglas around some more, when number 1 would jump the railing to attack the franchise,
Sit down, Gary.
only for the Riot Squad to hold him back
Who are these riot police?
and take him to the locker room.
And they were not very gentle with him.
No.
They knocked off his neck brace in the process, and I had him in a headlock a time or two. It's like perfect thing to do for a guy that you're supposed to be safely escorting to the back with a neck injury.
I have a feeling they're not professionals.
No.
Number 2 brings a section of guardrail as they make their way back into the ring, standing it up and attempting to crotch Shane atop it, only for Douglas to flip out and try to do the same to the Pitbull. But the railing gets knocked over, so number 2 just goes knee first into the steel.
There is a thing where I'm like, this is a good and well-plotted match, but the chemistry is a little off. Maybe they're nervous. Maybe it's the crowd getting in my head.
We'll talk more later.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk about it.
Douglas works the midsection with headbutts before rolling the Pitbull out to the floor and slamming the guardrail onto him from inside the ring. The franchise then rolls out and finally crotches him atop the railing, followed by a chair shot to the back.
And it still doesn't look very good. The crotching, that is.
Back inside, Shane with right hands, only for number 2 to start no-selling and firing back with right hands of his own. But Douglas stops the momentum with a knee lift and an elbow drop before heading to the top. The franchise leaps off only to be caught and perched right back on the turnbuckle, with the Pitbull wanting a superplex. But Shane shoves him off and leaps off again, only for number 2 to nail him with a dropkick in midair. They make their way to their feet, only to both hit clotheslines at the same time for a double KO. But the Pitbull is up first to take over with strikes and a power slam for a 2 count. And number 2 keeps up the attack with a back elbow, a drop kick, and a press slam. But he's just tired and staggers into the ropes, allowing Francine to slip some brass knucks to Douglas. A pair of right hands is delivered to number 2 before Shane grabs a piece of table to break over the head of the Pitbull for the near fall. The franchise grabs a chair and the ring bell to smash number 2, that only get 2 counts as well, followed by another piece of table for another near fall. And Shane gets whipped to a corner, where the championship belt just happens to be hanging from.
Who did it?
Allowing him to grab it and nail the Pitbull with it multiple times. Douglas then unties his boot and reaches for a small chain, which allows number 2 to recover as he sneaks up and delivers a pump handle slam for a 2 count. And the Pitbull steals the chain from the boot to hit the franchise when Chris Candido would run out, only for number 2 to knock him off the apron.
He eats the fist.
Francine then climbs into the ring, but she retreats once the Pitbull notices her, allowing Shane to roll up number 2 for the pin. And no! Pitbull kicks out and hits a clothesline. Number 2 tries for another, only for Douglas to duck, grabbing the Pitbull for a belly-to-belly suplex for the pin. And the win. Post-match, a voice comes over the loudspeaker. It's howdy doody time, Shane Douglas, and a deal's a deal. I'll take the mask off, but you give up the girl, or I'll give you an ass-kicking of a lifetime. And a masked man makes his way down the aisleway, wearing a simply ravishing robe.
Could it be?
Making his way in and laying a kiss on Francine.
He plants one on her.
So the franchise decks him with the title belt and tries to pull off the mask, while a Riot Squad member has jumped into the ring, pulling his helmet off to reveal himself to be Rick Rude.
What?
Everyone's going crazy except for Shane, whose back is turned to these events, as he pulls the mask off the masked man to reveal Brian Lee?
The Bulldozer? Previously Primetime?
One of the 3 members of Triple Threat?
Uh-oh.
Douglas then turns, only to receive a nightstick to the gut and a right hand from Rude, before being choke-slammed by Lee. The Ravishing One then gives a hip swivel for the crowd, while Candido, Francine, and the franchise can't believe their eyes.
I mean, Francine selling how horny she is for Rude. She keeps just like staring at him with glassy eyes and gets pulled away.
That's the part that cracked me up on it.
So funny.
She didn't kiss him, and after the mask came off, she knows she didn't kiss him, but then she still stands there all hypnotized, like touching her lips, like she can't let go of the kiss that she just had with Brian Lee.
Yeah, Brian Lee. Wouldn't call him an ugly man, but he's not Rick Rude.
No, he is not Rick Rude. And
I also always thought Brian Lee was much bigger than Rick Rude.
Well, the thing is, wrestlers used to be tall. And even here in 97, they're less tall than they used to be.
yeah, because Brian Lee, I know The Undertaker is taller than Rick Rude.
Exactly.
And Brian Lee was
The fake
the Undertaker.
taker.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe he wore...
That's why I was just
He must
like,
have had boots on, big boots on. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, well, now everybody's 5'10".
So we see Raven backstage, just like everyone else, doing a little brooding.
I mean, they
This
really
feels like a very brooding show.
They really dole out the major promos very well.
Mm-hmm.
But he says the entire world is tuned in to see the greatest hardcore legend defeat the Sandman and Richards. But 90% of those fans will see a bitter shell of a has-been, wanting to see him gain the most prized trophy in all the land, cheering him as he vanquishes his nemesis. But Raven continues that the other 10% will rage against the machine and the powers that be, as they're martyrs of dysfunctional society. These are the fans that want to see Raven win. So quote the Raven, nevermore.
And it goes on way longer than that, but Matt hit the important parts. Very funny that he says Rage Against the Machine, which is a thing before it was a band name. We know that's what he's talking about. Fight the powers that be, which is obviously the powers that be. Yeah, fucking Fear of a Black Planet. Why can't I remember the name of the group? Chuck D.
Why did my brain just...
Chuck D and Flava Flav. We're all dying right now. It's so funny because we all know.
We know exactly what you're trying to say, and none of us can think of it.
Yeah, my brain just keeps thinking Arrested
Because we
Development.
said it.
But it's
They're
not.
probably yelling at us right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is that thing where when you listen to a podcast and you're like, guys, that's the answer is...
Living Color.
That's cult of personality.
Yeah. Shane knows. It was a joke. It was a very good joke. It's Public Enemy.
There we go.
Yeah, which makes it extra funny because we had
We're at an
a
ECW
white tag team called that. But
We're an ECW show, but that was the team I hated. So,
but it adds insult to injury for my personal grievances towards Raven as he's saying all of these things, but comes out to the Offspring. Yeah, dude, I can't do it. Come on.
We then go to Taz and Bill Alfonso in the back, where the human suplex machine tells Sabu the time for talking is over. He has waited his whole life for a match and an opponent like him. Taz says they hate each other, but he wouldn't want it any other way, because Sabu will bring out his fire and both men will go through hell, and that he loves it. Fonzie then lists the human suplex machine's victims as we're shown clips of Taz choking them all out.
Bam Bam. Oh shit, I can't read my own handwriting. Paul Varlins.
Is 911 on there?
This note looks like Hairspray, but I don't know. Like it looks like I wrote Hairspray down.
The human suplex machine then chimes in that he did it because he wants to, but also because Alfonso put money on it, finishing by promising to choke out Sabu, telling him, if I was you, I wouldn't be.
Yeah, which is like, I wouldn't, Matt. That's way better.
I know, right?
I wouldn't be. It's like, if I were you, I wouldn't be. Is that a...
I get what he's saying,
Yeah.
but it's not a good thing.
It's not. And like, the promo is mostly good, but...
You know what was the best part of the promo? Was that Alfonso stood in the back.
And didn't blow his whistle.
Didn't blow his whistle.
I mean, we'll notice in this match, whistle way down, way less whistle, because you know why?
It's not about the whistle.
Because Taz is kind of the face now.
So we go to our fifth match. Yeah. Taz with Bill Alfonso and Team Taz versus Sabu in the grudge match of the century.
I mean, this is legitimately a co-headlining match.
Yeah.
They could have sold the pay-per-view with just this match.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they kind of did.
They did, but like they also did the thing where it's like Terry Funk's in the fucking main event.
Well, that's the thing.
And Terry Funk means more here today. Outside of Japan, Terry Funk means more in the 2900 arena than he does anywhere else.
Terry Funk wasn't in the main event when they announced it.
Yes, but he is now. And that's why it's top.
So I don't think they sold it on Terry Funk being
No. But like they did the right thing in putting Terry Funk last.
So the two men have a stare down before trading slaps when the human suplex machine hits a clothesline that sends the homicidal one out to the floor to regroup. Back in, Sabu reverses a whip and drops down, only for Taz to hit the brakes and attempt to lock on the Taz mission. But the homicidal one blocks and counters into an arm drag. They exchange mat holds before the human suplex machine nails several cross-face blows that ends up breaking Sabu's nose, busting him open.
Yeah,
I mean, whew. I mean, I'm getting energy from like Ken Shamrock blasting open Vernon White. It's like, oh, yeah.
My thought went to the match here just a few years back with Lesnar and Orton. It's just, I'm going to hold you down and I'm just going to punch your head until you start bleeding.
Yeah. The early Taz mission attempt, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Sabu legitimately had to have broke his nose because he is
Oh, yeah,
out.
he did.
You know how when somebody has a concussion, their eyes turn into fish and or chicken eyes? He is no longer human for at least 60 seconds.
The homicidal one retaliates with a dropkick to the knee and a slingshot leg lariat to send Taz outside to regroup, where Sabu hits a baseball slide that sends the human suplex machine into the front row, followed by a triple jump plancha from the homicidal one out onto him.
ECW.
The two brawl in the crowd until Sabu goes for air Sabu, only to miss and land on the railing, followed by a Taz clothesline to knock him back to ringside.
Ouch.
Love to see it.
Back in the ring, the human suplex machine works a bow and arrow until they start brawling from their knees, when Taz locks on a body scissors armbar, forcing the homicidal one to make the ropes to break it.
I love a knee brawl.
Sabu nails an enziguri in a springboard somersault leg drop, brings a chair in and hurls it at the human suplex machine in a corner,
Damn.
followed by an air Sabu. The homicidal one tries for a second one, only for Taz to move and hotshot Sabu onto the chair for a 2 count.
Damn.
The human suplex machine hits a clothesline and a sidewalk slam, but Sabu responds by pulling Taz through the ropes by his tights, setting up a chair and going for a triple jump plancha, only for the human suplex machine to move, causing the homicidal one to hit the guardrail.
Joe.
Taz delivers an overhead belly-to-belly suplex that sends Sabu into the crowd, before rolling him back into the ring, while Team Taz sets up a table that bridges the apron and the railing. And as the human suplex machine is directing them, the homicidal one is able to recover, knocking Taz out onto the table before starting a triple jump something that he stops. It was probably supposed to be a DDT through the table, but the human suplex machine hadn't gotten to his feet yet out on the table. So the two men end up fighting on the apron, with Sabu then trying for a swinging DDT, only for Taz to hold onto the ropes, sending the homicidal one to fall through the table.
Love it. He broke the guy's nose, and then Sabu takes the lone man fall through the table without the cushion of a Taz that's 80% midsection.
The two brawl around ringside before heading back in, where Sabu attacks the shoulder of the human suplex machine, followed by setting Taz on the top turnbuckle for a super Rana that gets a near fall. The homicidal one goes back up top for a leg drop,
Huge leg drop.
before the two trade strikes once more, until the human suplex machine nails a side head and arms Tazplex and a headlock Tazplex. But he's not able to capitalize as Sabu fights back with a pump handle suplex of his own, mocking Taz, only for the human suplex machine to get right up and try for a clothesline, which the homicidal one ducks, and he locks on a Sabu mission.
Kaja Hajime.
Taz frees himself with a back suplex and delivers a T-bone suplex before applying the Taz mission, with the ref raising the homicidal one's arm once, twice, three times.
Ding, ding, ding.
Calls for the stoppage and the win. So post-match, Damage Control comes out to check on Sabu, but he rises to his feet, all confused. So the human suplex machine grabs a mic to let him know that he got choked out. But he continues that the homicidal one gave him the fight of his life. But a few friends seem to disagree, so the human suplex machine just tells them to shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
Taz then tells Sabu he has respect for him, and he can have a rematch anytime he wants, before offering a handshake, which the homicidal one accepts, raising the human suplex machine arm in victory and hugging him. Rob Van Dam then runs down and attacks Taz from behind, with Sabu questioning what he's doing, allowing the human suplex machine to grab RVD, but the homicidal one nails Taz with a right hand. And the two men start attacking the human suplex machine with drop kicks, leg drops, Arabian face busters, before putting Taz through a table with a triple jump elbow drop. The Sabu mission is locked on again as Fonzie is just standing there watching on, doing nothing. But he enters the ring as RVD and the Homicidal One celebrate. And Alfonso takes his orange dress shirt off.
No.
Like he's getting ready for a fight.
What's
But
he
then
thinking?
he takes his Team Taz shirt off to reveal a Sabu shirt underneath it all. And raises the two men's hands.
My God.
Fonzie takes the mic to say he owns the human suplex machine, teaching him everything he knows. But he lost money tonight. And Taz threatens Fonzie only for Bill to retreat behind Van Dam, who takes the mic to say he's a pay-per-view superstar. And if any promoters want him, just call Alfonso. And that he even loves to work Mondays.
Bum, bum, bum. I mean, we just recently saw a pretty great double turn. Here it is. Taz was getting more cheers as the heel for a long amount of time. Same with, like, he built to it, just like Steve Austin did. Pretty similar. I mean, I wouldn't put either of these guys on a Brett or Austin level, but they are Brett or Austin level for
ECW.
For what ECW is.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Pretty great fucking stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to be a good match because they'd been building it for so long, but there's also that, what if Sabu is Sabu and something goes wrong?
Sabu, fucking, what a champ.
Mm-hmm.
He takes that fucking nose break a minute and a half into the match, maybe less, and there's like one spot and it's not even his fault, and he makes the right choice. Everybody is like, their brain is vibrating and they're more hyper aware of what's happening. It's not just another night at work. This is a pay-per-view.
So Joey shows us some replays of what just happened before welcoming in a guest commentator for the next match in Tommy Dreamer, who brings along Beulah, causing the fans to chant, "Show your tits!
Show your tits."
So Tommy was originally supposed to be in the main event, but he stepped aside so that Terry Funk could have a chance, even promising to not interfere.
Well, I mean, we had that match with him and Terry tag teaming.
Yeah. That Funk got taken out, and then Sandman came down, and it was Sandman
That's right.
and Tommy Dreamer actually won the match.
Yeah, and it was like for the thing, and it's like Tommy was, or for the number one
And I
contendership
guess
or whatever.
Stevie kind of helped it a little bit as well, so maybe
Yeah.
that's how they got to this.
But yeah, but it's like, well, Tommy didn't want to take the glory. Terry Funk wanted to give it to him. It was honestly pretty like relatable and enjoyable storytelling, even if a bit sloppy.
Yep.
So we go to our sixth match. Big Stevie Cool with the BWO of the Blue Guy, Hollywood Nova, 7-Eleven, and Thomas Rodman.
Wait, I didn't catch Thomas Rodman.
Tom Inchworm Rodman.
Oh yes, they call him the Inchworm, which is maybe the best. Like Rodman, he's Dennis Rodman. He doesn't even need a nickname, but they call him the fucking Worm. The Worm is like the coolest fucking nickname ever for a professional basketball, football, baseball player. Doesn't matter.
Wrestling dance move.
Versus the Sandman versus Terry Funk in a three-way dance to become the number one contender for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship.
And I didn't realize that meant right after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they usually do.
Yeah,
in
and
ECW.
It is.
I was hoping with Raven being back and healthy that they were actually going to have him wrestle real matches. And yeah, I was disappointed to hear that they were going to be rolling right into this because you know the three of these guys are going to just rip each other's fucking heads off.
You also, you know that Raven has a much higher percentage chance of winning, but you also know that if he loses, it's even more impactful because these guys are obviously about to go through absolute hell. And just to point out my disappointment earlier, Stevie Richards should have come out by himself.
Yes. Because it's not about
the
Blue World Order.
He should have came out like shirtless or with just only blue tank top. But the BWO coming out with him, it's just undercutting. Really good promo. He's like, just let him be out there a man alone, and I think it would have plussed it up a little bit. But that being said, it doesn't take away from what's about to happen.
Yeah.
So Sandman has busted himself open on his way to the ring with smashing of the beer can on his head.
He does it 3 whole times. And I must say, it's so much better when you can actually hear Metallica and the crowd sing along to Metallica, and it's just not some, generic duty-free music.
So everyone starts it off with chops, strikes, even a triple headlock, until Terry pushes Sandman into a Richard schoolboy for a 2 count, followed by a clothesline attempt from Sandman to Stevie, which is ducked. So Sandman gets decked by Funk, who goes for a spinning toe hold, only to be hit by Big Stevie Cool with a forearm.
Honestly, doing a pretty good job for an almost senior citizen, a young man who's talented, and
The Sandman?
The Sandman.
and and basically a turd with a wife beater on.
Yeah, the guy that just, down 3 beers on his way to the ring.
Oh, yeah, and another thing, Terry coming out to Desperado, which I normally would, but here, every Terry Funk match in ECW feels like it could be the last Terry Funk match, and it never is. But this one feels almost like the last chance for the belt.
He's going to be out. He had actually announced that this was going to be his last year in wrestling.
Yeah, which I knew.
Spoiler alert, he probably had a match this year.
Terry Funk is having a fucking match in heaven. He will never stop. Yep. Nothing can stop him, whether the afterlife is real or not. Terry Funk is unstoppable. But it's kind of sweet for him to come out to Desperado as this old man that fucking chews shoe leather and won't give up. I don't even like the Eagles that much, man.
Richard and Sandman take turns dropping elbows on Terry, followed by Sandman picking up Stevie for a leg drop on Funk for a near fall. And Big Stevie Cool says, hey, let's do that again. But Sandman turns on him, dropping Richards with a back suplex. Sandman then heads off down the aisleway to the back, while Terry hits 4 hangman neckbreakers on Stevie.
Where did he go?
For a 2 count.
And does a hangman neckbreaker just mean you do it more slowly?
Pretty much.
Okay, just checking. It looks cool.
Sandman emerges with a ladder and throws it into the ring right at Funk, nailing him atop the head.
Yeah, he did.
Sandman continues with ladder suplexes onto Big Stevie Cool, does the same to Terry for a near fall, then sets the ladder up near a corner before hitting a DDT on Richards. And Sandman climbs the ladder, but Funk meets him at the top with fists before leaping off with a moonsault onto Stevie.
Almost breaking his goddamn neck.
Yeah, that was a really, really bad, really, really foolish moonsault.
It's 1997, and I would be afraid...
Stevie saved his life.
Yeah, I would be afraid to see Jeff Hardy do that in 1997. And he's not even a name anybody knows at the time. But, he's probably 19 and as healthy as he'll ever be. But, there's just no leverage or space. He's on, the third rung.
There's no need for him to do it.
It's so scary.
Sandman then leaps off the top with ladder in hand to smash atop Big Stevie Cool before leveling Terry with left hands. Sandman returns his attention to Richards to body slam him atop the ladder for a 2 count, goes to pick it up, but Stevie drop kicks the ladder into Sandman's head for a near fall.
Wonderful sell by Sandy.
Sandman then puts the ladder in a corner, but his whip is reversed, sending him right into the steel, allowing Big Stevie Cool to get a 2 count, followed by a body slam of Funk for a near fall. Richards and Sandman then team up for an elbow drop, low blow combo to Terry, followed by the Sandman climbing the ladder in the center of the ring, where Stevie meets him to trade strikes, only for Funk to back into the ladder, sending them flying into the ropes.
I hate that they're climbing the ladder to exchange punches in a match where there's nothing hanging above the ring. It's so silly. It doesn't need to be here.
Yeah, especially when
You can use the ladder.
the
You
others.
can't have them coming flying off into the ropes then.
Yeah,
You can have the ladder, but they don't have to exchange. You don't need the ladder.
I was waiting for the Sandman half of the ladder to break because he was on the side that didn't really have steps, and he's a bigger dude.
Yeah,
so.
he's on it's really bending and it's scary, but like Stevie gets on there just in time to like.
Plus, if you don't have the ladder, you don't get this next spot.
I know about the spots. I want to be tricked into thinking it's real, Matt. That's my thing.
Terry puts the ladder on his shoulders and begins to airplane spin around, nailing both of his opponents multiple times before setting the ladder on the ropes to brawl with the Sandman.
And that's the thing where it's like, well, when Terry Funk does an airplane spin with a ladder, I'm a little less angry.
Big Stevie Cool then leaps off a turnbuckle to seesaw the ladder into the face of his opponents, followed up with Stevie kicks to both for near falls.
I know, the Stevie kick, fucking BWO chants out the ass, everybody's stoked. Stevie is the favorite with the exception of, all three of these guys are pretty well loved in this building. Terry Funk's the legend, but Stevie is the slow burn.
The underdog.
The slow burn underdog. You remember when he had a cage match with fucking Luna Vachon? And it was good?
The match spills out to the floor with Sandman throwing Richards into the crowd, setting the ladder against the guardrail before going back into the ring, only to leap out to hit the ladder for another seesaw into Stevie's face.
That one over the steel.
Funk with chair shots to everybody before Sandman heads down the aisleway once again for more weaponry. And Terry brings Richards back in the ring for a corkscrew vertical suplex. He goes for a cover, but Sandman then throws a trash can into the ring that hits Funk in the head.
Nasty sound.
Yes.
It's so gross. And the trash can looks like different and
Because
weird,
it's wrapped with sheet metal.
but it's on the inside.
There was some on the outside as
Yes.
well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but then there's the sheet metal on the inside, and like, that's why it sounds incredible.
Yeah, and later in the match, I cringe at a certain spot because I was waiting for somebody's head to be sliced off by falling inappropriately.
I mean, yeah, that sheet metal, it's like, the edge on that, it's no good.
Sandman suplexes Stevie onto the can, with Terry making a cover for a 2 count, before teaming up with Sandman to deliver a spike piledriver to Big Stevie Cool.
Crazy. Sandman and Terry shouldn't be teaming up. Not on the little guy.
Sandman then sets the ladder on Richards and hits a somersault leg drop, with Funk again making the cover for a near fall. Sandman sets the ladder on the ropes for another seesaw, but it doesn't connect, so the ladder goes flying towards the crowd.
I know. It blew my mind when they did the one over the steel. I was like, there's crowd members, like, they backed up or whatever, but something could happen. They could hit the edge of it, and it like fucking barrel rolls into the crowd. And this one, it flew out of the ring, and then fans' attention is completely diverted to right out, to the right of the hard cam. And I was just thinking like, oh, well, somebody got cracked in the head with that and is out.
I had a bad night.
But I don't know for sure.
Terry throws a chair at Sandman on the outside, allowing him to make another cover for a 2 count. But then they team up for a powerbomb of Stevie, with both making the cover for the pin.
Boo!
Big Stevie Cool is eliminated.
I mean, the thing is, Stevie doesn't lose anything in losing this match, and he gains, I don't know if it's a lot, but he gains something that's significant.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
So our
the crowd's
remaining
behind
competitors shake hands, but immediately start trading strikes until Funk backbody drops Sandman out to the floor. And they make their way around ringside, where Sandman finds some barbed wire,
Wrapped in
which
ribbons.
happens to be all tangled up with the streamers from earlier in the evening.
Damn crepe paper.
Yeah, see, I was trying to figure out what the hell he was grabbing. Like,
Me too.
He's going to bring streamers in to choke him out. Okay, cool. And then,
Yeah.
that's when I heard them talking about barbed wire.
That's where the officials had to pull it down real fast and put it under the ring.
Back in the ring, Terry with a trash can shot, followed by pulling Sandman's shirt over his head, hockey style, to throw punches, and
Hey,
whipping his back with the wire.
Yeah, that hurt.
Oof.
Where it literally caught on his skin a couple times.
Yep, that
I was
hurt.
like,
Well, I mean, Terry gets that big rip on, like, basically right above the love handle.
Sandman is able to stop the punishment with a piece of sheet metal, wrapping himself with the barbed wire for an avalanche attack onto Funk before going up top for a leg drop. For the pin, and Terry kicks out.
That jump there made me nervous because you got Sandman wrapped in barbed wire that part of it is going up around his neck or something. And I was, again, waiting for somebody's head to be sliced off with him taking one of his jankety jumps off the top rope and getting caught on something and either slicing himself, cutting his throat, something.
Sandman is the... You guys have all heard the saying, 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
Mm-hmm.
Sandman is 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. It's the way he moves. Like, I'm not calling him a piece of shit. I'm just saying that he moves like somebody that's heavier than he actually is. He's not agile at all. And I wrote that he hit one of his patented leg drops off the top. Worst leg drop in the history of professional wrestling. Mm-hmm. Legitimately, I am not a athlete, but I think I could drop a better leg drop. And I feel the same for you boys. But I'm not bleeding like Sandman is either.
Big Stevie Cool has returned and is up on the apron, only for the Sandman to give him a barbed wire hug. But the distraction allows Funk to capitalize with a trash can shot over the head of Sandman. Terry then places the trash can over the head of Sandman when Richards would jump in the ring to deliver a Stevie kick, followed by a Funk moonsault for the pin and the win.
I just gotta say this. Terry's moonsault is somehow he falls ass first onto Sandman in his moonsault. I don't understand the physics. He does a moonsault and a barrel roll, senton, just flop. It's pretty funny. I'm just glad that it was ass first and not head first.
Well, he's probably thinking Sandman won't do like Stevie did. I almost broke my leg on the last one. So
yeah, I mean, he should be afraid because that other one was very scary. Mm-hmm. This one's from he's got a little more leverage this time, but yeah, somehow his body would not allow him to go for it, and he does. Yeah, I don't even know if science could explain it.
So post-match, Raven runs out, and we're on to our seventh match. Terry Funk versus Raven for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship.
And Raven doesn't waste his time.
He attacks with a belt shot, setting a chair up in the ring, only to drop toe hold Terry onto it.
Damn.
Followed by a chair shot over the head, which has busted Funk wide open.
He's bleeding.
And the ref calls for a doctor to check on Terry, which supposedly the only way the pay-per-view companies would allow them to run this show is if they would have a doctor at ringside. So they used that in this match.
Might as well. I mean, it's Terry Funk after a brutal match.
But as the doctor's checking on Terry, Raven continues to attack with stomps and right hands before setting up a table on the floor, dragging Funk out to suplex the table onto him. And Raven resets the table and lays Terry on it before climbing up to leap over the ropes, sending them both crashing through.
Have you ever seen Raven move as much?
Nope.
Also, I guess Tommy's been on commentary, but Tommy doesn't really say anything on commentary. He's very quiet.
Yeah, he basically, every time Joey asks him something, he's just like, I can't.
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah.
I just have to focus on this.
Yeah. It's well, you're just not good at this. That's fine.
He's my idol, man. I should be in there right now. He's getting beat up because I'm not there.
Yeah. It's yeah.
So the doctor continues to try and check on Funk, even at one point, trying to stop the match. But Raven just decks him and calls out the new nest. Because it's a bunch of people that I look like they were in biker
gear.
biker gear.
Yeah, there's a very...
No clue really who it is.
One of them's a large
Woman?
female.
Yeah.
Most of them start setting up a stack of tables right underneath the broadcast position.
Which is weird because I didn't catch that until the spot happens later.
Yes.
While a female, who Joey calls Reggie Bennett, and I looked her up, she's basically been in All Japan. She did some matches.
Okay, so
over
that is
there.
her name.
Yeah.
Okay, and All Japan was like
She was actually
prime...
a friend with Terry Funk's.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Doesn't really ever do anything else in America other than this.
Yeah, she was like part of the end
she's one
of like she was towards the end, showed up in All Japan probably towards the end of like the basically what's the height of women's wrestling,
Yeah.
just in general.
She rolls in the ring to smash a chair across Terry's back, followed by powerbombing him.
Pretty wild. Also, I mean, Terry is really dripping. Before all this happens, he is like rolling around covered in blood. He looks like Ian Holm in Alien. You know, when Ripley starts fucking up and like he like after he tries to jam the magazine in her mouth, which is one of the weirdest scenes in any movie ever. But yeah, he is just like spurting blood and spinning in circles, unaware of where he is.
Raven grabs the mic and tells Tommy that he's going to end Funk's career by dropping him off the balcony through the tables, which just pisses Dreamer off, who starts motioning for Raven to come get some.
That's right. He ripped the little thing out of the wall and everything. The little cord.
Oh yeah,
chain.
yeah.
Whatever the hell it's called. It's not a rope.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
All of a sudden, Big Dick Dudley attacks Tommy from behind with a trash can.
I do love the reveal. It's very like low budget horror movie where he just like walks out from the corner.
Here I am.
Yeah.
Whose style says he just got out of jail, as Raven DDTs the ref inside the ring. Big Dick then attempts a chokeslam of Tommy, only for Dreamer to counter and deliver his own chokeslam, sending Dudley through the stack of tables below the balcony.
Because it was a dark, it's not well lit. I thought it was one table, and then I saw him just like tumble through it like fucking falling Jenga. Also, Tommy did not chokeslam him.
No.
Tommy like
Pushed him.
tried to, and then like kind of freaked out near the edge and like pushed him, and Dudley basically took the bump on his own.
Yeah, that's what you call a big dick to go.
Fuck. Wrap him up.
That's a condom. Raven waits for Tommy to make his way to the ring, all with Terry laying in a pool of his blood.
Oh no.
And Raven reverses a whip, but Dreamer catches him with a swinging DDT, allowing Funk to make the cover for the pin. And no! Raven kicks out. But the bell rings anyway.
I mean, fans are going nuts.
Yep.
Raven fights back and goes for a vertical suplex, only for Terry to cradle up Raven for the pin and the win. And new
Desperado.
Post-match, Funk and Tommy celebrate with fans as Joey says his goodbyes and we fade to black. And it's a good thing we did, because the building lost power mere seconds after they went off.
Oh my god. How awful would have that been?
God, how awful would it have been if it had gone out as Big Dick was falling?
Oh wow.
I would have thought,
He's
I'm
dead.
dead, I'm dying.
He's dead.
Huh.
I mean, they were running real close to their 3-hour mark as well.
Yeah.
They had
But
that
then-
3-hour battery.
But then the power actually goes off as well, and there's like
Well, yeah. What was this
everybody in the back's going.
Yeah.
So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Barely Legal 1997?
It's a good show. It's an incredible amount of promo, but all the matches meant something. It's all quote unquote major talent for ECW. There's no gangstas. There's no trash matches. I think this is what ECW should look like all the time. The issue with that is that there's way fewer matches on here, and these are all people that they've built for a long time. Like, Lance Storm is the least important person on this entire show. And it's not because he's a bad wrestler, but it's because he's new to the company. It doesn't mean much. Like they knew that this was their first pay-per-view, and they did the right thing. Not necessarily the right thing for the people in the arena, even, because I think that the crowd kind of stunk in some spots on this show. Mm-hmm. But it's the right thing to do for a new audience.
Hopefully that that person that's tuning in to ECW for the first time on pay-per-view.
And there's a lot of promo, but like the promo all explains exactly who that person is. Mm-hmm. Some are stronger than others, but none of them are weak. I'm looking at you, Taz, might have the weakest of them. But none of them were bad by any means. And it was just...
If he was looking at you, he wouldn't be.
It was just such a fucking nice show. The Dudleys fucking jobbed to the Eliminators in a spot fest on the first match. They knew how important it was. And we all know that Bubba Ray goes on to be kind of the most cantankerous shithead. and not the most, but he's just... We've all heard... What was his name in TNA? What's his name?
Bully.
Yeah, we've all heard Bully Ray talk too much. But here he even knew
he never shuts up.
Yeah, even here he knew it was the right thing to do. But zero complaints. Terry didn't win it alone, but he shouldn't have.
No. It's the show all in all is start to finish. I loved it. Yeah, it's
great.
Hands down my favorite ECW show that we've watched.
I'm there with you.
And it could be that they got all their shit in gear ahead of time. It could be that the ones that we've watched in the past, I know there are ones that are put together storyline-wise by Paul Heyman, or Paulie Dangerously.
No.
But a lot of the stuff that we watched were spliced together or put together by fans or whoever the hell it was that were putting them together. So maybe we just didn't have the full-on vision of it all.
No, this is the difference between an open mic and like curated comedy show, or like a band touring and then two locals open, or a band touring and bringing two of their like two bands that they like respect and like on tour.
To use your band analogy,
yeah,
what it feels like is ECW's been on tour for a while,
and now they're tight.
They're playing their songs.
They're getting better every night.
They've gotten better inch by inch, and they figured out what songs the fans want to see.
And they figured out how to perform.
And those are the things that they put on this show.
They put in the 10,000 hours, and they knew what was... It proves that they always knew what was good and what people wanted... What, like, the general audience wanted to see. Mm-hmm. As opposed to feeding their niche audience, which they've been doing most of the time, or it'll be like 50-50, or sometimes, most of the time, 70-30.
And that could be why
feeding to their hometown audience. But they're feeding to, this is their shot. This is their chance to shine, and they did the right thing, which I was so curious if they would do the right thing. And I don't know if they could have done anything any better and still be ECW. And
that could be why the audience was reacting differently on this show than they have on previous ones, because
they're more used to bullshit.
Yeah. They have to make noise to get through seeing the Eliminators come down for the fourth time of the night.
It's like we got hat guy, we got long hair guy, we got those ECW guys that are probably the smart fans, but you also have these people that are selling it out constantly as wrestling gets bigger, who are new to the thing, who don't know who Terry Funk is, but they see that everybody cares about this guy Terry Funk.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right, fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of this show?
Best six-man tag of all time?
Yes.
Yep.
Gran Hamada.
Total elimination right off the bat. First thing we see.
Total elimination off the bat. Total elimination on Gertner.
Yep. And Gertner's, oh my God, the poor
Total
man.
elimination on Bubba Ray to win the belt.
Yep.
Yeah, and Bubba Ray took it, not Devon. It was nice to see.
The promos.
Only squash match.
Yeah.
The promos were
Great.
They gave you an insight into each one of those wrestlers to build up the main event as it's a big deal.
Yeah, and my only complaint would be that I've watched so much ECW that most of it wasn't anything new, but I knew what they were doing, and I was happy that they did it because they did the right thing. Who does the right thing?
Not just Rick Rude, but face Rick Rude. Has that ever been a thing?
I don't remember a face Rick Rude.
Yeah. So
No.
that can go
for...
for...
No, his face and Flair. Flair was the face.
It would have happened.
That can be both best moment and surprising because I don't know if I ever thought I would see a Rick Rude as the good guy.
What about, this would have been really fun. Rick Rude doesn't get hurt. Rick Rude, well, I mean, honestly, if he didn't get hurt, he probably would have become a champion in WCW at some point.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
he was champion in WCW.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think he would have been a potentially dominant champion.
I wonder if they would have brought in Hogan if Rude doesn't get hurt.
Exactly. That's what I was getting at. Was like, would they even bother? Because Rude he'd been great for so long, but he was basically becoming untouchable. He was becoming... We watched Steve Austin slowly become Steve Austin. Rick Rude was always Rick Rude, but he was about to be, I think, something better.
Agreed.
What's the worst match on the show?
I guess the squash match, but who cares because it's so full of incredible spots.
I think it's Shane and Pitbull.
That's the one that was shining.
And here's my reasoning.
No, because I've
my reasoning
talked about it in the match.
We've seen this match
too many times.
Too many times, which I think is part of the reason why the crowd wasn't into it.
Yeah.
Because the ending is something that we've also seen.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
If this had been the first time we had seen that schmoz ending,
if they held it off,
then maybe we're like, okay.
Well, the thing is, the schmoz ending is like, how many more times are we going to do it?
But we just we kind of need Shane and the Pitbulls to
separate,
get away from each other at this point. Because they've had way too many matches.
And the thing is, like, they started to pull the trigger on Pitbull too, but I don't think they're going to.
They're never going to pull.
Which is such a shame.
Like, if they were going to pull the trigger on it should have been this show.
Yeah, but it should have been also 6 months ago at the same time.
You could have
but it was
this was their last chance.
Yeah, it was absolutely the last chance. Yeah.
Because then you could have just moved Shane up to the heavyweight title picture.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, though, is, I mean, as much as we've been cheerleading for Pitbull 2,
it had its moment.
I'm just trying to think of him, what other matches he's had where we've been raving about him where he wasn't in a match with Shane Douglas.
I mean, that's basically
he had matches with those other large men that came in that I was a big fan of, the big strong boys. No, I can't think of them.
Fawn and Furnace?
Well, no,
Fawn and Furnace. They only faced...
But who were the singles guys?
That's what I'm trying
to remember. There was Fawn and Furnace. There was that guy with the fucking blonde hair who was large and tossed people around. And I can't remember his name. His name was like John Smith or something.
Oh, are you talking... Wait, no.
You know, like
Davey Boy Smith's cousin?
No, a few years, like within probably 97, 96, there was some ECW guys that showed up and did big boy shit. And it was nice.
Are you talking the dude that had his match with Sabu?
Yeah, they all kind of like got matches with real guys that didn't stick around, and it just felt like they probably just went off to like.
Or is he already in WCW?
Japan or something?
They
were Scott Orton-esque. There was a couple of them. Not Scott Orton, Scott Norton. I apologize, but
I can't think of his damn name.
Either way, remember when Pitbull 2 was the biggest babyface on the show?
Yeah,
it was too long ago. And also, that match, the chemistry was a little off. It kind of had some stutters. And I'm not opposed to a botch by any means. I think that they add to wrestling matches sometimes if the people in the match are smart enough to capitalize on them.
I mean, Jericho and Pitbull had some matches.
Yeah. I guess I'm thinking of other guys that maybe Pitbull didn't fight that I also liked, that Pitbull could have ran through them and it would have maybe pushed him further. I don't know. But
most everything else is tag team stuff before that.
But you are right. That is the most played out match on the show because nothing else is played out.
Yeah, everything else is like...
If it's not fresh, it's been built to and anticipated.
Yeah.
Whereas Shane and Pitbull 2 seems like a once-a-month thing at this point. Once a month.
Spicoli. God,
Louis
what was his name?
Spicoli!
That was driving me crazy.
I love Spicoli. But Spicoli's not here anymore.
Yeah.
How about most disappointing?
I don't really... There's not too much disappointment in this show for me.
I mean, this is...
I mean, for me, it is the ending of Shane and Pitbull.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where I was going with...
Yeah.
With what I was... Why I asked.
I would agree with that. My other most disappointing is, like, the both men climbing the ladder to punch each other with nothing above them. But I'm not too mad about it. No. It didn't ruin the match for me. But it was the thing that happened a couple times that like took me out of something that I was very into. But it didn't take me so far out that I got right back in. But whenever that spot happens, I always just kind of like shrug or shake my head. But it's only 10 or 15 seconds. It's no big deal.
Are we really saying there wasn't nothing disappointing on the show?
I mean,
like I said, this is my favorite of the ECW shows.
I mean, Tommy Dreamer just pushes him off.
I mean, Tommy Dreamer's commentary was...
Well, yeah. But, like, that's just kind of nitpicky.
He was concerned for his friend.
Yeah, it was nitpicky, but he talked to such a small extent that you forgot he was there when he did speak. But when he did speak, it meant something. The words meant something, but the inflection was flat.
Yeah.
So, whatever. Who cares? We know that he loves Terry Funk. You don't have to, the
choke slam.
It's one of those things like, Shane doesn't have to tell me that he loves his mom. I know he loves his mom. We know Tommy Dreamer loves Terry Funk. Tommy Dreamer doesn't even have to tell us that. But on a wrestling show, he has to tell people that, especially when it's
partner
a
for 2
new
matches now.
When you're bringing new people in. Like, how many people bought the show?
I just thought of something that
Let's hear
just Lance Storm's chair shots.
Oh yeah,
those were pretty bad.
Yeah, Lance Storm was very ginger.
I will call out Lance Storm when that kind of thing happens.
Yeah, for sure.
He's known as a safe worker, and
he was too safe.
It was a little too safe on those.
Yeah.
How about best performer of the night?
Oh my god.
I'm just gonna say ECW.
It could be almost anybody. As a personal choice, the person that I came away with a new excitement for was Gran Hamada. Everything he did looked so powerful and crisp, and it really was like, is this guy the perfect worker? I don't know. See, we've seen Gran Hamada before, but in this match, like, he just fucking shined in a huge way. I would give a small shout out to our Green Power Ranger, who was subbed in for Gran Naniwa, who was hurt, and he was the heart of the match, I think. Yep. He was absolutely the heart of that match, as he's the young guy with 2 older guys, and he was where he needed to be. He was on the apron, like, reaching out for the tag, reacting to what was happening in the match, but not entering the ring afraid of potentially a DQ, and you could read that all in his body language. But he didn't know he was at ECW, where DQ, never gonna happen, brother.
Yeah, I don't know who to give it to either. I'm
picking guys.
I feel like Terry Funk just
Yeah.
Going out there at 53 years old and just doing what he did and performing the way he does. Like, it's always... it's always incredible to watch him do it.
Yeah. And
because he's adjusted his style just enough that it feels modern, for the late 90s, while still keeping his style that he's always had.
I mean, it's still old school. The way he sells is a testament to
the good old days.
To
how good old wrestling is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's my preferred wrestling is the ones is wrestling with rules, and Terry Funk's wrestling like a man that has a ref that matters, and doing it in a place where it doesn't, and it still translates.
I was gonna say a man who's come to his senses after being out riding fences for so long now.
Yeah, out riding barbed wired fences in Japan for maybe too long.
How about most surprising?
It struggles so hard to find.
I mean, there's two
most disappointing things.
There's two turns here, and I was surprised with the Alfonso turn, but I've watched enough in when the wrestler came out. I watched a lot of ECW matches that I downloaded in torrent packs where it was these are some of the greatest matches, but they weren't in any kind of context. And me and my friend Devin would smoke weed and watch these DVDs that I burned of matches I downloaded. So I knew that Bill Alfonso becomes the manager for Sabu and RVD, but it had been so long that I forgot and I didn't have the context. So that turn was surprising until it dawned on me, and I was like, oh yeah, it had to happen at some point. And this is a good place for it to happen.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I knew it happened at some point. I just didn't know that it was in a match like this where it's like you said earlier, it's a double turn basically.
And it's the biggest match of Taz and Sabu's career.
This is the foundation where Taz starts just rocketing up the card.
I mean, this is why Taz. This is the fulcrum point for Taz making his way to the WWF before RVD, and we all know why Sabu doesn't make it in any meaningful way to either major promotion, because Sabu is what if Too Cold Scorpio smoked PCP? It's just dangerous and probably not worth your money. But RVD, he's just going to smoke weed, and he can talk. The other one is Brian Lee turning. Because I was like,
that one, okay, that one actually is pretty surprising, because no clue. I kind of looked to see.
I was like, oh yeah, it's Rude. What's
going on?
Yeah. I was paying attention to the guys in the masks.
See, I knew it wasn't him. I knew it wasn't him wearing the face mask, just because the angle that they had him from, there was no real mustache that I saw at all. It was covered up by the mouthpiece.
Well, there was too much of a goatee.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know enough about Brian for it to be that surprising for me, because
you've seen a lot of Brian Lee. I'm just saying that I thought it would be Rude. I didn't anticipate the
double surprise.
Yeah. It's the what is the word for it? Not distraction, but the subversion. I didn't expect the subversion of the reveal of the man Rick Rude. I did expect Rick Rude when he.
I mean, we've known it's been Rick Rude for a while.
Yeah. But when he unmasked himself, I was not surprised that he did nothing and Brian Lee made the attack, because Rick Rude is physically not cleared to wrestle. Yeah. And if he was, he wouldn't be here, because my God, what a talent.
My most surprising still is the face Rude. I never thought I'd see the day where Rick Rude was the good guy. So
I mean, here it's he'll never wrestle again, and they're kind of doing the manipulative thing of making you think that Rick Rude might have a match in ECW, which is kind of dirty, but you can't really blame them. And if they're gonna give Rick Rude a $1,000, a couple $100, $2,000, who knows how much it is. I want only the best for Rick Rude. So.
And I swear to God, if he turns into simply ravishing Brian Lee,
no,
I might be done.
He doesn't have the swagger. He doesn't have the swagger for that.
And now for a look back even further into the history of wrestling.
The dusty finish.
Sabu had been the ECW heavyweight champion for the past couple months when Terry Funk would challenge for the title at Holiday Hill on December 26th, 1993. The fight would spill out to the floor immediately for chairs to be used, only for Funk to respond with multiple pile drivers once back in the ring. The homicidal one would use his high flying to deliver Air Sabu in a split-legged moonsault for a near fall. A table would end up in the ring with Terry and the ref being tossed into it several times, with Funk falling out to the floor, only for Sabu to then leap out with a moonsault. Paul E. Dangerously would nail Terry, while Shane Douglas would come out to attack the homicidal one, only then for the lights to go out. But when they came back on, Funk was on top of Sabu, with Douglas dragging the ref over for the pin to make Terry Funk the new champion. All three men would then feud over the next few months, leading to an ultimate challenge.
Bum, bum, bum. I kind of love that we're in a Ouroboros.
I know it's the first time Terry Funk became ECW champ, and
the episode with him being
and him becoming the champion.
Yeah, we're just like, okay, well, we covered these things, but you just write it so well, Matt.
Next week, In Your House 14, Revenge of the Taker.
Dong.
God, what a fucking theme song. So good. Whenever they get to those fucking high notes.
So music from this week's show is...
Desperado.
Well, the opening theme song.
Oh, continue.
It's a new one.
Is it?
This is Extreme by Harry Slash and the Slash Tones.
5-5?
No.
No.
Oh.
5-5? No. I did recognize it from... It's like...
It's the song that they play from now on, basically, for ECW stuff.
I mean, it's the one you think of
Yeah.
for ECW because it's kind of the one that gets dubbed in later because it's by Harry Slash and the Slash Tones. Maybe the worst band name I've ever heard.
And, as you guys have mentioned several times, Terry Funk won our main event, so we play his theme music, Desperado, by the Eagles.
I mean, I only like the Eagles if it's a Joe Walsh song. I think In the City is basically the best Eagles song because it's just a Joe Walsh song. But
I like Timothy Schlitt. Peaceful, Easy Feeling.
Peaceful Easy Feeling's okay. I don't know if I know Timothy Schlitt. Is that a member or a song?
Yeah, he was a member.
Okay. But Desperado, not a song I ever cared for, but with Terry Funk, it just seems right.
It
with
works.
his little wilting voice. When Terry Funk speaks, it sounds like a flower losing its petals. Doesn't it? And it just feels right.
If you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there, rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcasts at.
5 stars or no stars. Come on, guys. ECW, finally. They've done a good job plenty of times. But they did their best job here tonight. And I think we did a pretty okay job talking about it. So, you know.
I'd say better than okay.
Yeah,
better than even pretty okay.
Yeah. Put the petals back on the flowers and give us 5 stars. Damn it.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns...
You ever been to Rochester, New York? Because that's where we're going next.
Yeah.
And,
Chicken nuggets is probably what they eat there. I assume Rochester is like New York State, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Like-
it's not like...
The city.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because New York State
I've never
is-
been to New York State or
yeah.
New York City.
I haven't been to New York State. I've been to Long Island, which is...
That's why I'm like, is it a borough? But no,
I mean, I guess
I
I've-
believe it's a city.
I guess
Yeah,
I've been...
Rochester's north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up north. Closer to Albany and stuff.
Yeah. Which is basically we live They're like, oh yeah, well, I live in Albany, New York. And we're like, we live in Oklahoma City. And it's like, same place. It's like basically the same place, except for our weather is like maybe a little better. But
you can do any of those things at our email of wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTO X. We'll talk to you next week.
Love the laters.